Hello everyone. So I'm going to offer a few poems from my collection Stonebitter Stories. I'm going to have to read them from the screen, so apologies if I kind of look sideways or something. It's not that I'm going cross-eyed, but these are kind of the poems that deal with a father figure, and they're important to the manuscript. I won't say why, I'll just let you hear them. Most of them were written in the 1990s, but unfortunately, some of them still have validity, excuse me, in terms of what they cover. And we've all seen news stories, and we've all heard of accounts of, and I'm sorry if it's triggering or any of the poems are triggering, family violence, family annihilation, those sorts of things. And this is not me making a spectacle out of it, it's me actually mining lived experience. So this first one is called True Stories. When he wasn't busy perusing the Melbourne Truth with all its page 3 nymphets and sex ads, only for the sports results, mind you, it was those tabloids that truly caught my father's eye. This was his means of getting educated, keeping up with the world. He read them back to front, lurid with rape stories, triple murders, missing persons. No light reading. And yet he exhibited a kind of joy in each retelling, as if getting ideas. The world was full of traps of every kind. Every night he'd show me how to lock all the doors. You'll be the man of the house. When I'm gone, he'd say, I've got to show you how it's done. The need for vigilance was paramount. If you can't be safe in your own home, where can you be? And the world boiled with a fury for blood, bullets, and pornography. A man's world. You'd think he was unshockable, this one, but one day he swore after an argument with my sister when she told him to go F himself for the first time, that it was one of the 3 worst things he'd ever heard from a woman. It was women should watch themselves, he said. When his marriage was falling apart, he became more and more obsessed with accounts of wife-bashing, kidnapping, suicide, as if in preparation for his own kind of war. That was the most chilling part, knowing that when my father read aloud those grisly tales of crazed men taking station wagons out bush, 3 kids inside with an 8-meter hose hooked up to the exhaust and 2 rounds of gaffer tape to seal in all that choking revenge, he read as if seeing into the future, eyes glazed, that crazed codger wasn't just anyone, it was him. So yes, that's very intense, but it tries to draw together different threads of a violent imaginary. The other poems move into a different gear. The sense of threat doesn't dissipate, but it's more a kind of interesting dynamic. So this one's called My Father Sings Along to Johnny Cash. My father is driving too fast on the red dirt road. He's driving and singing along to Johnny Cash. My brother's in the front seat. I'm in the back, prone, giddy from the dangerous moves he makes. The car jerks under the speed like an animal being broken in. This is what my father does for fun when we head down south to Walpole for holidays. He drinks beer after beer and we watch TV from a tiny grey screen, bored shitless until suddenly he says, let's go for a ride, boys. I'll take you for a spin. Gotta learn about cars sometime. For him, it's not rules that matter. The engine groans and then charges like a killer. Dust clouds bloom from the tires, and my brother cheers him on in a mixture of glee and fear. My father is red from excitement, the red of raw meat. He asks if I'm watching, but my expression is a warning. And for years I won't listen to Johnny Cash because of my father's sweaty voice, because he reminds me too much of my father himself, old, big, slurring, tragic, while he sings from too many sessions down at the local, drowned in soft pain. But in the car, my father kicks on, like it's his last chance at freedom, while Folsom Prison Blues plays on in the background. The next one is also about that dynamic of being drawn into something with the father. Laws of perpetual emotion. I always say this. It's very emotional. Yes. Laws of perpetual motion. Moving. We're always moving, caught in the dust clouds of bad intentions, the bad debts of a life insurance salesman who can't even manage his own. There is always another town, another road, a new name to settle on for a while, like safety. Then it's off again, into the cool of the night, with suitcases like badly made sandwiches, hushed like guilt, off to some new suburb, unfamiliar as the playground games we never learn. There is never enough time. There is never enough money. We're on the run. We're fugitives. After phone calls, my father's expression falls flat, like a magic trick exposed, and I know it's time to go. I always know. I've been on this roller coaster too many times, and the centrifugal force has got to me. In the hubbub of packing and taping, of arms and voices lifting and straining, I sit for a moment, a still point. My mother picks me up before I can even breathe, like a dropped stitch, and delivers me over to him, willing accomplice in all these escapes. My father's grip is like molten lava that sets in all the chill spaces. Though we are leaving again, he never wants me to leave him. He would hold me forever in his hands, like that old rifle with its awful potential he polishes behind the makeshift bar at every house, subject to the laws of perpetual motion. He makes me promise strange things. I don't know why. If I ever get locked up, you won't desert me, will you, son? My father the mobster. Or, when I'm old, you'll look after me. His need is as strong and sticky as molasses, and just as dark. Even now, beyond his reach, I'm still subject to that force, as the sea is pulled by the moon, in perpetual motion, lost, wandering like the Flying Dutchman between coasts, unable to find which way is home. Okay, so this is the last one, and I've written about the father in different ways, but this is just a small selection. It's called Evictions, and it's more written from adulthood, looking back. 1. I write from a crooked time, here in this U-bend. Let me forfeit any claims to objectivity. I give up my right to witness protection, right now, against the wall. This sly kind of rhythm, perpendicular to reason, all angles awry. 2. I finger the aerial photograph, with each hot spot marked in red. This is sensitive information, but meant for all ears. 3. Out of the dustpan, out of the musty corners, cobwebbed illegibles, out from underneath that mangled shape of a person sleeping in the cold mist, over the notices of eviction, over the cut wires, loose and live, out of the static, the clamour of mice, trailing secret lives, eating cardboard boxes, flour, anything that can be chewed and shut out. City buildings shiver like false hope. 4. I remember where we lived. The hallways were endless. The walls collapsed under the lightest touch. An old house built in the 20s. A huge oak tree outside threw liquid shadows. I climbed up to the roof most nights, living this high on the outside. 5. Every act illegal. The place you squat, property of someone else. 6. A lockout. A generation of drunkards who pace the yard, who know the world is prison or perennial house arrest. I see my father's life like this. I hear him pacing, overgrown on his acid misery. It's easier to break down than out. 7. These days, things defy their forms. The tree I once climbed has bent, scalded by lightning. It nevertheless grows in the yard full of bricks and concrete from the knockdown house. All footfalls finally evicted. I peer through the distortion. I pick up what's left. So that's the end of the sequence, but there was a period in my life of housing instability that kind of in a way mirrored kind of the first 10 years of our lives. And I have to say between 71 and 81, I might have moved like 7 to 9 times. Yes, that's what the perpetual motion's referring to. And my father lived on a lot of credit. He was very ambitious. He was not ungenerous, but he was full of bravado, and that is kind of mapped out in the poems. And there were lots of people chasing him. He was always on the run, and we were part of that. But later in my life, as someone who'd been sort of in sexile, so to speak, I also lived through great housing instability and found myself having to squat. So that house built in the 20s refers to that. It's not actually a childhood house because we didn't have such a house, but there are kinds of inheritances. The reference to acid misery, this is something that literally was dealt with by my Lanta from both my grandfather and my father, who developed ulcers. It's very interesting as a metaphor, but in terms of alcoholism, that's not something that I've had to grapple with, luckily. To his dying day, my father said I was never an alcoholic. And I remember not challenging him on that because obviously he was not well and he was on his way out. So, but there are different ways in which people live with their choices, I guess.